yes.
I just realized I'm like wearing the same shirt that I wore in like my first Degrassi interview, so.
Did you? Or are you? Okay, are we all ready to go? What was the last scene you just shot? What's happening in your world? In Grace's world?
Grace, in the scene I just shot, oh, she's in the hospital waiting for her lung transplant.
Oh, yeah.
And then she finds out that her lungs didn't make it, so she just kind of has to accept that, but Jonah lets her know that it's all good because she has another day now to do all the things that she would like to do before she risks dying in the operation.
And Miss Scoozy, we know what's on that list. Doesn't Esme suggest like an orgasm? Like have an orgasm before you die.
Yeah, and Grace gets hella awkward about that because she's like, doesn't really know what to think of the suggestion, but she does, you know, secretly really want to experience this before she possibly dies. So
She wants some sexy time with Jonah.
Yeah, so she kind of just like, yeah, she just, you know, writes it down, you know, keeps it a mega secret. You know, Jonah kind of like sees it and takes a picture of it, and she's like totally mortified. Yeah. So.
I would be complimented. If somebody is at the risk of death and I'm on the list, I'd be like, thank you. It's very nice of you.
But at the same time, she's probably like, you know, like, it's complicated because obviously she doesn't want it to be like, you know, like a pity thing. Like,
true.
I don't know.
True. Jonah is straight edged.
Yes.
Yes, which is what the X's are.
Yes.
So because we find out that like he had a kid and it psyched him out.
Yeah.
So he decided like, don't have sex, don't have a
Yeah.
kid, which is pretty like.
Well, fair enough. He's in
safe
high
concept.
school.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. But then Jonah is willing to like kind of break his straight edge thing for Grace.
yeah.
So what do you think it was? Like, what's this, is it specific, like, do they have a special connection or like?
They do, really. I mean, I think that they both have very different perspectives on life than a lot of their peers. For example, you know, Jonah does mention that, yeah, he used to be in this hardcore life of, you know, just hooking up with people and doing a lot of drugs and all these things. And so, you know, he's obviously seen a lot of things that a lot of high school people haven't. Whereas, yeah, Grace has a similar thing where her experience is very different from everybody she goes to school with and hangs out with. You know, she's got this weight of her own mortality on her shoulders constantly, and she has to just kind of accept it, deal with it. And yeah, they have some sort of mutual level of understanding that's unique. So.
Yeah, they can connect. Like everybody's running around in Degrassi being like, oh my God, my boyfriend, or like,
yeah, or like,
there's roses on my locker, and you're like, yo.
Yeah, like.
Jonah's like, I have a kid, and you're like, I could die tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
So everyone chill.
Yeah.
Okay, well, here's the thing. I actually I'm a big fan of Grace. I like Grace a lot. I like her because I feel like she's like this in like a positive way, like this kind of, she's like everybody's best friend. She's like this like mama hen in a way to me. Like I feel like Grace is like Degrassi's Yoda. Like she's just like, she knows what's happening in the world and like gives all this great advice. Like if I was in high school, if something goes wrong in my life, immediately for Grace.
Yeah. Or like to Zoe, come out of the closet, you must.
Exactly. If I was Grace and everyone's running to me with their petty little problems, meanwhile, Grace has the weight of the world on her shoulders, right?
Yeah.
Because she can like, she's sick.
Yeah.
And she's trying to have like to live.
Yeah.
Do you think that's why she has like perspective? Like that she's so...
Definitely. Definitely. I mean, you know, like what life really comes down to is, you know, like, I guess, yeah, how long it goes on, the fact that it could end any day, literally for anybody. Mm-hmm. I mean, Grace's life could end any day, but that's not to say that, you know, somebody else she goes to school with could, you know, unfortunately get hit by a car. Like, who knows, you know, like stuff like that has happened. I don't know. I just think everybody can kind of relate to it in a way. Like, you know, everyone's got their own problems that they deal with on a daily basis. And, you know, like not everybody knows every battle that someone is fighting, you know, like, so even if you don't have a terminal, or if you don't have an illness, like if you don't have a physical illness, but say you have a mental illness like depression, it's a similar thing. You're thinking about death constantly. You have to kind of, you know, push it out of your psyche to just get through everyday life and everyday activities. So I think that, you know, she just kind of has that knowledge.
What is a like standout scene for you, Grace-wise? Like, what's one scene that you just loved?
The rooftop scene when she is just screaming her lungs out at Zoe because Zoe is basically, you know, hears about what she's going through and
like, here's a smoothie.
Yeah, and thinks she has this, you know, just like sudden plan that's going to fix everything, right? And yeah, I thought it was a really important, it was just a really important moment, you know, for Grace to just really like, you know, get that out there, you know, and you really get a whole new sense, because Grace is so calm and collected all this time about her illness.
Yeah.
And
She kind of got to let it out.
yeah, exactly. She never gets to really scream at people.
Yeah, I know. I think a lot of the things she had so pent up, right? Like she wanted to scream that to the whole school, which is why I think the rooftop's quite poetic.
Yeah,
Like she wanted to scream it from the rooftop, and she got to.
I mean, it's not really a secret anymore, I guess, because she has to carry the oxygen tank around and all that.
And then she has that idea of like not wanting to get the lung transplant because she's scared. Is that the idea? Like what was holding her back from not doing the lung transplant? Was it like just too hopeful and she was too cynical about it?
I think in a way she was feeling a little bit pessimistic. I think because there was a chance that she could die or get even sicker by her body, I think, rejecting the new lungs after the operation.
So it's either like she takes whatever time she has or risks death in the operating table.
Yeah, and even if she does get the operation, she's, you know, feeling like she doesn't want to be on anti-rejection meds. She doesn't want to be like worrying about, you know, about healing from it, and is kind of almost like, okay, well, she says that she'd rather, you know, just die in 3 years than, you know, try to go through this, you know.
I mean, like, what an insane amount of pressure for a kid. It's like,
yeah.
When Chris and I were running Degrassi Social, we saw like a lot of young people tweeting at Degrassi Social being like, thank you for talking about CF. Thank you for talking about CF. My friend has CF, or my like mom has CF, or all of these different things about how like it just seems to be like one of those illnesses that like gets swept under the rug. Did you get people reaching out to you like on social?
Yeah, I got a few messages on social media that you know, and some of it even like opened my eyes a bit to, you know, stuff that, you know, that I feel like should be incorporated into the character and into the way we're telling this story. You know, like a lot of people are saying, oh, you know, it's so great that, you know, this is something that's being talked about. Because, yeah, a lot of young people do deal with this. A lot of people do deal with this while going to work, you know, trying to live their normal life, you know, like with any other illness.
Is it nice to, like, feel like you're going to work and, like, actually starting a conversation about something that matters? Like by playing these characters.
Yeah, definitely. The writers are actually really good at just bringing up like a lot of stories that need to be told, especially this year, I find. You know, there's the storyline, you know, that follows the immigrant students. There's Grace's storyline. There's storylines about racism, which a lot of people apparently still don't think exists, which is, totally ridiculous because it does.
And I think the show does a great job too at like just kind of not being afraid to join the conversation when things are happening in the world.
They're very honest, I think, in all the episodes about, you know, like telling all the perspectives, you know, like even the ones that, you know, like not everybody like might care about hearing, you know. So that's, you know, that's I think a really important thing to be a part of for me, you know, especially with Grace.
And the first time we see Grace, she is typing on the floor, and doesn't like Maya trip over her or something? Like she's on the computer.
I don't know if Maya trips over her, but Maya is definitely kind of like a little intimidated. You know, she's, I guess, like, you know, Maya is more like a, you know, preppy like music girl, and, you know, Grace is like this dark goth in the corner with these giant headphones and a computer, just like, what do you want?
I love her. I love her. So rock and roll.
I was so anxious, but so excited for that scene. Like, it was my very first scene, and I was so nervous. But at the same time, I was like, I just get to be like the badass in the corner who's just like new, and everyone's like, "Who's this?"
Did you have fun playing Grace? Like being that badass?
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, it was kind of fun to like just kind of like gradually get Grace out of her shell, because, you know, of course, when you first see her, she's just like super, super hardcore in the corner. And like, like scary, you know, obviously really intimidating. She hacks something for Maya.
Doesn't she find out what does she hack for Maya?
She is trying to find out who Maya's cyberbully is. And she finds out that it's Zoe.
Oh my God. I feel like Maya's endlessly cyberbullied in this show.
The poor girl.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so she, you know, so even though she's kind of scary, she, you know, does a good thing, and they end up being best friends, which is really cool. And it's even funnier that like Zoe and Maya end up getting along, and like, you know, Zoe and Grace end up really getting along for a bit there, and like all that. So like,
but then Maya and Grace's like relationship goes sour, what happens?
It's something that's, again, very, very true to real life and something that happens all the time, you know, with best friends. And it's just one of those things. You know, Grace is obviously fighting her own battle again, and she wants to talk to Maya, her best friend, about it. But Maya is dealing with, you know, some post-traumatic stress and depression and, you know, ends up dealing with a lot of feelings of suicide. It's a tough place to be because, you know, people also have their own issues they're dealing with. And
Because before Grace just thinks that like Maya's being like kind of petulant and self-involved, and Grace is just like,
Yeah.
yeah, like I am going through real stuff and you're not here for me.
yeah, totally. And that's, you know, that's just the difference in perspective, obviously. You know, Grace has a physical illness, Maya has a mental illness, you know, but they're both equally difficult to just deal with, you know, and go through.
You're right. It's like Grace and Maya are dealing with two different illnesses.
Completely different. I mean,
And they're all consuming.
yeah.
You know, and it's hard to make space for other people when you're suffering from these things.
Yeah, really.
Being a teenager is just, for the best of us, freaking hard.
Yeah.
And it's like, as a result, it's just like it's a selfish time. It's like I was a gay teenager growing up. Oh my God. I was just like, oh dear Lord. But then I think even for like the straight, you know, basketball player who was like, you know, the guy that all the girls liked. I'm like, I saw them have a hard time too.
Oh, yeah, totally.
You know, it's like, it's just so rough for everybody.
Yeah, definitely.
Especially if you go to Degrassi. Then you're just screwed. What about Zig?
Yeah.
Grace liked Zig a lot, and he turned her down.
Yeah.
So sad.
But honestly, I understand why. I really do. Because,
Why was it? What was the reason?
well, I mean, they're best friends. And, you know, if he hasn't been thinking of her in that
True.
way this whole time,
True.
it would be kind of weird to just, you know, to suddenly be sprung with that. You know, like, I totally understand him, like, you know, just being like, this is weird. Like, I don't even think it's anything like against Grace as a person, you know?
Well, it's always that like age-old question: can you like date your friends? Like, can a
Yeah,
friend go into a relationship? I think not.
I personally, like, yeah, if somebody, if like, say I knew two people who were best friends for a really long time and they decided to freaking get married, I would be like, okay, cool, that's amazing for you guys. It would be actually a really beautiful story. But personally for me, you know, I'm somebody who has a lot of male friends, and, you know, and they're all like, they're just my buddies.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't date any of my really close male friends because, again, I don't think of them in that way.
Yeah.
And I never have. And it would be suddenly so weird to just like switch the relationship like that one day. Like, and then it would just never be the same.
Yeah.
It would never be the same.
No,
you know?
it wouldn't. It's changed forever, no matter which way you put it.
Yeah.
Unless you're like Gwen Stefani and that guy she dated from the band. They were okay after. She made a song called Cool about it.
Yeah.
What else about Grace? Grace Cardinal.
We talked a little Zoe, but do you want to talk about Grace kind of helping Zoe come out?
Mm-hmm. Grace helps Zoe come out, does she?
Yeah.
Yeah, remind me of those steps. Like,
You know, like, she's been giving her actually really solid advice, but unfortunately not all of Grace's advice was solid. Like, she did tell Zoe that everything would be okay if she told her mom.
oh, you're right.
But
And that's not
Zoe's
true.
mom is unfortunately like,
I can't believe that Zoe's mom's pulled. She gives that box of all her like identification, being like, I'm abandoning you forever.
it's like, in that read through I cried.
Yeah, that
Like,
was
I
sad.
started to tear up. I had to like stop myself. I was like, no. But
And it reminds me too, it's like when
Yeah.
you're saying like people think racism doesn't exist anymore. It's like, hello. And in that same scenario, it's like as much as we've come forward with like LGBTQ stuff, it's like people think that like everyone's cool with being gay, but like, hello, there's still kids that are dealing with like
Yeah.
parents that are just have absolutely want nothing to do with them.
yeah,
you know?
that really made me think, you know, about the whole, you know, about acceptance, like just the whole concept of just, you know, accepting people the way they are, and also being sensitive to everyone's circumstances,
Yeah.
you know?
But you know what? I like that Grace was still like, you're gonna have to tell her eventually. To some
Yeah.
extent, like, and I think Zoe has some like liberty in the end. Like she's
Yeah.
kind of freed, or she's like, and Grace actually says, is it Grace's line? The friends are the family you choose.
Yeah.
God, Grace is so wise.
Yeah, she does say that, and I think that, you know, that statement does hold very true. You know, like, not everybody is born into a terrific family circumstance. Some people are just, you know, some people are born and soon after they don't have a family at all, right? So, you know,
They have to build it.
yeah,
How do you think you're gonna feel when the show's done?
I'm gonna cry.
Is it gonna be hard?
On my last day, the whole time, I'm just gonna be like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry. And I will cry because I cry all the time anyway.
Oh man, it's gonna be teary.
I know. Oh my goodness.
Is it because how long have you been on the show now? 4
Um,
years? When did you? Okay,
Yeah, this is my fourth. Yeah.
This is your fourth year.
Yeah.
So 4 years, 6 seasons. Yeah, 13,
Yeah,
14,
yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Whoa. You know, it's just so crazy. Like the time went by so fast shooting this show, and like we're only just now realizing like how far all of our characters have come.
Yeah.
Like everybody is just like so different now. The relationships have completely changed, and it's just wow. But yeah, I do think it's really cute though that, you know, like like Maya, Tiny, Zig, and Grace are like all graduating together, and you know are kind of like like all talking about what they're gonna do after high school, and you know it's good. And yeah, again they've evolved so much over the years. It's just
Rubber Room Crew for life.
yeah.
Rubber Room Crew.
Rubber Room Crew.
Is it gonna be like hard to be separated from the cast now? Because like now you guys won't have like an excuse. And I know so many people go their own ways. They go to like LA, and
Yeah.
I know like I lose my friends to LA all the time. You know? It's so sad.
Aw. You know, all of us that are graduating have been really nostalgic. Like pretty much as nostalgic as we would be if we were really graduating together. Because I mean
Seriously,
we're
it feels like
we're graduating from the show, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, you know, but all of us have just been really talking about, you know, like what our plans are for after this, and you know, who knows, maybe like, you know, people from the cast will end up on a series together or a movie together one day.
Yeah.
Like that'd be so funny.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, if I
you're all back at the same. Like,
Oh
wouldn't it be
my
so fun to like
goodness.
work with the same, like everybody but playing completely different characters.
oh my gosh, I know.
So good.
That'd be so funny. Like like if I end up like on a different show or like a movie with somebody from Degrassi, like oh my gosh, it would be so funny.
So I think Grace kills it in the end. Okay? She gets her lung transplant.
Yeah.
She gets into university. And by the looks of it, it looks like she got her orgasm with Jonah.
Yeah.
So I think Grace nailed it. What do you think?
Was that a pun?
Didn't even mean to. Totally set myself up for that.
But yeah, no, honestly, like, and I think it's really important that, you know, that we do see Grace, you know, really get what she deserves in life after just fighting this long, you know, because it's very possible, you know, like if you know, no matter what struggle you have, you know, I feel like, you know, if you really, really, really push through it, like you do have a really strong chance of getting through it. And, you know, of course, no promises for anybody, but, you know, you have a strong chance of getting through it. And I think that's an important story to tell, you know, to anybody, you know, even if they don't have a physical illness. Yeah, there's hope no matter what the hell you're going through.
And there's always a new chapter.
Yeah, always.
And if you're lucky, there's a hot man's.
Yeah, or a woman's.
Or woman's. So my own personal hopes just seeped into this. Can we play our game?
Yeah.
Our game is called Prom Boiler Slap. So who you want to take to prom, who you want to hook up with in the boiler room, and who you just want to, like, teen movie slap.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
okay. All right.
Oh, no.
Yeah, do you have options?
I always forget to give you the options. Everyone's like,
Okay.
great game, what's next? Okay, Prom Boiler Slap. Zig, Jonah, Tiny.
I think both myself and Grace would agree to slap Zig for, you know, like rejecting her and kind of breaking her heart into a million pieces.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
I mean, Jonah, she'd obviously want to bring into the boiler room.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, she can't... Well, I guess, yeah, she could marry Tiny, but they're friends. They could always have a platonic marriage.
Mm-hmm. They could have, like, a nice prom together, I think. Tiny is a delight. You can't slap Tiny. Cute as pie.
No, and Grace would never slap Tiny. I would never slap Tiny. He's always the good guy. Like,
Yeah. He's so cute
He
as pie.
is.
He'd be a great prom date. He'd get you such a cute Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you see what he does for
Oh my goodness, his
Shay.
proposal?
It's like a flash mob.
Oh my goodness.
Please. Okay, next category. Zoe, Maya, Esme.
I
As hey.
mean, like, if she was to take one of them to prom, it would obviously be Maya.
That's nice.
Because, like,
That's
you know,
nice. I
it's
like that.
friends. Zoe. Oh, but Zoe's also done some, like, really terrible things.
Terrible. Terrible.
Absolutely.
Although Grace has kind of been to the boiler room with Zoe.
Yeah.
So it's like, would Grace want to repeat a boiler room hookup with Zoe? Or would you like to try something new?
I don't know. I mean,
I think you just slap Zoe.
yeah. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And go to the boiler room with Esme. I think that would be a good
Yeah,
time.
well, because I was going to say that I think Esme, like, hints at something weird at some point to do with Grace.
Does she?
I don't know. I think
Is
it's
there, like, a
it's
sexual
subtle.
wink?
Dude, Esme, like,
I love Esme.
Esme's the best.
She keeps it fresh.
Esme is, like, she's my favorite character right
Yeah,
now.
She's awesome. Okay, do you have one for me? 3 characters you'd want to name?
I don't know if you can see over
Can you
there.
see over there?
Tristan, Jack.
Jack. Whoa, throwback.
I
Love
know.
that.
And Miles.
Tristan, Jack, and Miles. I love that Jack's in there. That's cool. Tristan, Jack, and Miles. Okay, I think I got it. I would go to prom with Jack, because Jack's cool.
Yeah, Jack is cool.
I think I'd go to the boiler room with Miles, just because he's bi and a hot character.
Yeah.
And I would, that means I slap Tristan. You know why I'd slap Tristan? Let me tell you why. I would slap Tristan because he has somebody like Miles who's all like, I want to be with you. And he's just like, please. And I'm like, what?
Dude, Miles also, like, messed around a lot, though, with poor Tristan's feelings.
True. Then there's that.
While he was in a coma.
Well, Miles was doing the best he could. You didn't think he was going to wake up.
Well, even before that, though. I mean, Miles, like, had trouble making up his mind for a bit.
True. But, you know, he's doing the best he can. I think we nailed it.
Yeah.
Is there anything else we missed? Thanks for hanging with us, Nikki.
Yeah,
Thanks for hanging with us, catching some jokes, eating some candy.